Let me give you the number one reason why you're being disrespected by your wife or your girlfriend. It's not because you're out of shape. It's certainly not because you're not making enough money. It's because you don't have a framework. Let me show you how to build a framework starting right now. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. First and foremost, I want to say thank you for all of your support. If you're getting some powerful takeaways, if you're resonating with walking the warrior's path, and of course, building that masculine warrior spirit in your life, do me a big favor here. Subscribe, of course, comment on this video, share it. I mean, you know what to do. We are growing fast because of you, because of your support. So I appreciate you. All right, so let's dive into this. What is a masculine framework? So many of you don't really understand the concept behind it. Well, first and foremost, I want you to think of it this way. You meet a woman, and the first couple of days that you're talking to her, you say, hey, let's go out to dinner. You guys go out to dinner. You're having deep conversation. Within that conversation, you start, kind of figuring out whether you want to continue dating her and whether she may be a good fit for you down the road. So you get to know her a little bit. There's a sense of camaraderie, right? First, you feel like you guys are connecting. Then there's, of course, sexual attraction, physical attraction, all that good stuff. But now you're dating her a couple of months and you realize that you want to get serious with her and she may feel the same. So the next step here is, okay, now you got to whip out your manual, right? And look at how you are going to develop this masculine framework so this relationship could actually work and maybe take it to the next level in the future. One of the main things that I look at first and foremost is how do you live your life and what is your expectations from a woman that you care about? Crucial, right? And so many men are wimpy in this aspect because for the most part, they're just kind of following along. They are not leading. They don't have that leadership mindset. For me, that's not the way it rolls. As a matter of fact, most of the time, any relationship that has been really successful, any masculine relationship in the sense that there's a masculine leader within that relationship, it's because the man has stepped up and created a framework. So give you an idea what a framework looks like, okay? Setting boundaries, setting expectations, understanding that there is going to be emotional times for both of you, yet learning how to control these emotions and bringing it to the table, whether it's clear and decisive discussions. Making sure that no matter what happens during the day, that you don't go to sleep in a fight. The more times you go to sleep angry at each other, the more the resentment is going to build. So that's a game breaker for me right there. And then, of course, you have those parts of your relationship that you are willing to be flexible on, and then there's those that you're not, right? Those non-negotiables. So 2 months, 3 months, maybe, who knows, 4 weeks into your dating, you start laying out and building out your framework. Now, most men, unfortunately, think that they can whip out a framework 2 years into their marriage. And I will tell you that that's a tough thing because by then your wife has kind of pegged you. She sees who you are. She knows what you're about. And if you haven't led at all, and typically if you don't have a framework, you probably haven't done a really good job leading. That's the way that she's going to feel about you. Now, look, in the end, it goes like this. And you have to look at it from a perspective. It's almost like you must have a structured approach to building and, of course, expanding your relationship. Because at the very, very beginning, you're going to do X, Y, Z. It's going to stay like this. But eventually, you may have kids. You might be building an empire. So you may be traveling. You may be doing things that are constantly away from the house. She may have to take on certain roles. Is she ready to take on these roles? Meaning that you get married in a year or 2 years. Is she the kind of woman that is willing to raise your kid, stay at home. Teach your kids. If you're going to homeschool your kids, is she willing to, talk things out with you? Or is she one of these women that are going to, unfortunately, do things behind your back? Does she want to go out with her friends all the time? Are you okay with that? Are you okay with her, the way that, she dresses? Are you okay with the way that, she carries herself? Does she understand? I mean, these are boundaries that you're setting, right? Does she understand that maybe you want something more out of her than just dating and maybe having sex? So there's a lot of things that you must discuss, but I'm going to give you kind of like an outline of the way that I develop my masculine framework. First and foremost, I get to know her, right? And then I'm talking about my wife here, okay? We met. It was a great experience. We literally, we were connected from the moment that we met. And a lot of relationships are not like that. But luckily, she comes from a very good family. So believe it or not, a lot of these discussions were super simple. Like it wasn't even a thing, right? She believed that a woman, lives within her feminine energy. And, she is a stay-at-home mom. She is productive. She is a go-getter. She is my support factor, but I lead. My word is final. And the way we raise our kids, we agree on it. But again, my word is final. And she's all about it. Okay. And don't get me wrong. She's very, very smart, very, very much on point. She's a ruthless negotiator. She is as far as strength wise, everything that you would want from a woman. However, there's still a framework, right? Like, for example, she knows very well that I don't like her driving at night. That's one of the things that was a non-negotiable for me. Of course, if there's an emergency or a situation, it has to happen. But I don't like her driving at night. I think it is dangerous. She abides by it, no issues. There are certain aspects of, she's not the type of woman that would go out with, her friends all the time or party or anything like that. That's not even a discussion, right? She's a woman that is there for me. For her kids, for her family, like a wife should be, right? And there's no quarrels there, but your lady may be a little bit different. She may be a little bit of a party goer, right? She may be a little bit more like, hey, I want to work. I want to do my own things. I want to live my life. I want to. So you have to be truthful with yourself. Are you willing to accept that in the end? Or is she going to start living within your framework and your tolerance level and your boundaries? Because in the end, if you don't feel comfortable with your woman going to nightclubs at night with her friends, and she's still doing it, I'm sorry. Like, you guys are not, the relationship is not going to move in the right direction. Okay? If she wants to work and she wants to build her career and she's putting that first and she doesn't want to cultivate a family, are you accepting of that? Or is that a non-negotiable for you? You got to bring that to the table. Are you willing to be understanding with her and be compassionate with her and be there for her? Or does she have to understand your side of the story? You may be an entrepreneur that travels, that is building an empire, that you may not be physically there for her all the time. Is she willing to accept that? Is it a non-negotiable for her that you need to be there often? There's a lot of things here that you have to, lay on the table. But I believe that powerful men really set strong boundaries across the board. And we have to be living within a lifestyle, right, where it's conducive for our growth. If you grow and you start leading your family, your wife and your kids are going to grow, without a doubt. But it is very important for you to set these specifics from the moment that you meet. Like I said, a few weeks, a couple of months, but you have to start laying the foundation out there. Because in the end, many men they get married, and it's unfortunate that their relationship goes down the toilet a year after, because now they're like, oh, wow, I wasn't expecting this. This is not, what I had in mind, what a marriage was all about. So be very careful to kind of put a framework on the side and say, hey, I'll get to it later. Get to it now, so you know what type of person she is and what she's willing to put up with. And of course, what are you willing? How far are you willing to stretch within your boundaries to have a strong relationship? Let's talk about friends. I'm not a guy that has a lot of friends. I've never had a lot of friends. I'm not interested in having a lot of friends. I have a very tight inner circle. My wife, on the flip side, she's very friendly, outgoing. She has many friends, but it's not a thing where she's going out with them all the time. She's devoted to our family, and I come first, and the kids come first. So, that is pretty much, she lives for that, and she's very selfless, and she's happy giving. And you have to remember, you have to also understand, is your wife the kind of person, or your fiance or your girlfriend, is she the type of person that she loves to give? If she's not, are you willing to accept that? Some women just don't want to give. They want to take. Are you willing to accept that? Also, let's talk about respect. That is crucial in every way, shape, or form. If your wife disrespects you in private, she may step outside that box and start disrespecting you in public. Neither is okay. But of course, disrespecting you in public has, the magnitude is tenfold. Because when a woman disrespects a man in public and people see that, they look at that man as a weak man. There is no respect given to him, not only by his woman, by anybody else. He loses respect across all fronts. So, that is a deal breaker. That is a non-negotiable. There is no disrespect both ways, okay? Meaning that I would never disrespect her ever like that, especially in public, okay? And she would never disrespect me either in public like that, or privately. But bottom line is that obviously the magnitude of in public when other people see it, that's damaging, right? Very damaging. So sure, you're going to get into fights. You're going to get into quarrels from time to time. And believe me, we have heated arguments. But in the end, those arguments are settled. When you put arguments in the back burner, you got to figure out within your framework and how you're developing your framework that, look, your relationship, you can argue, you could fight, whatever, but you guys have to figure out how to come and meet. And one person is going to have to give in more than the other person. That's the way all arguments go. Okay, there's no real happy medium. However, if you're arguing about stupid things, then that means that you haven't solidified any type of foundation from the moment that you guys were together. So the way that I envision your life going is, look, you set your framework, you build out from there, and you live a life within that framework. And it's not just extended to your wife or your girlfriend or your fiance, it's extended to your kids also. It's almost like, you are the king of your castle, and your kingdom, right, operates within the rules and the outlines and the expectations that you set out. And if you do it from the heart and you're a good man with really sincerity, and you're doing it to serve for a higher purpose, right, to have everybody on the same page, it just makes it a lot easier. Now, some of the men are going to take this and, start saying, oh, this is machismo. And some of the women, oh, machismo, you hate women. You can't be this, you can't be that. Well, I will tell you this, okay. A structured masculine relationship is much stronger than a weak feminine relationship. Much stronger. In my opinion, the man is the provider, he is the protector, and he is the king of that household. And if you are struggling with finding a woman who doesn't believe that, maybe you need to find a woman that does. You need to hang around the right crowds. You need to find the right person. Don't just settle because the woman's hot or whatever. Guys, listen. I get it. Physical attraction is important, but be very careful with that. Be very careful with that, okay? Because physical attraction, it's only going to last you so long, meaning that once you are together a few months, that's not going to be the primary reason. I'm telling you, for the guys that are just starting. For those who have been married 20, 30 years, you understand it. But it doesn't mean that you're not physically attracted, because I'm physically attracted to my wife. Shit, she's hot as hell. Like I'm very physically attracted to her. But it's not like the only reason, right? If she wasn't smart, if she wasn't wise, if she wasn't, had these little quirky things that I love about her, and a lot of things that annoy me that she does. I mean, that's just the way it goes. You're going to be annoyed by, but you have to be accepting, right? I mean, within your framework, it's not just about her. It's about you. You know, women, all of us have women who do things that are like a pain in the ass, right? That's just the name of the game. But you have to be accepting and say, hey, you know, I'll accept all of this, but as long as this part is covered, as long as she treats me like a man, she is my support factor. She respects me. And especially if you have a woman that admires what you are doing, that is powerful. So within your framework, it's almost like you are here, you live it, you breathe it, and it's like your own little, I hate to say this, but like your own little bubble, right? And if you're able to structure strong walls around that and strong boundaries, honestly, probably the boundaries won't even be tested. And if you see at some point in your relationship that the boundaries are tested, then typically there's something wrong, right? There's something wrong in your relationship. So next time that you are wondering why your woman is disrespecting you, next time you're wondering why your kids look at you and they make fun of you, or, you know, hey guys, you don't have a framework. You are not a good leader. You have dropped the ball, but there is a saving grace here. If you still believe that they love you, they still have some respect for you, man, you could bring this framework to the table and start changing your life. Again, if you've been married for a while, this may not work easy, but you can start implementing some of the things that we discussed here little by little. All right, guys. Again, if you're loving this channel, because what we give you is from the heart, all about living the warrior lifestyle, about building a stronger you, really about being a masculine man and re-energizing that warrior spirit, please subscribe, share our content, comment, all that good stuff. You know exactly what to do here. You know, we have grown here very quickly over the last few months, and it's because of your support, and I truly appreciate that. May God bless you, and I'll see you soon.